One thing I do want to say about the Book of Abraham is I don't think we have the complete book. Joseph Smith said that these writings of Abraham were on a long scroll. We know that Joseph also says that on the scroll was the writings of Joseph in Egypt. We never got those. So it's evident that Joseph never completed this translation. That is one thing that does seem evident that I do feel capable to talk to. Joseph, when the Book of Abraham, although he receives it in 1835 and translates portions of it in Kirtland, it's not published until Nauvoo in 1842. And they published all 5 chapters of the Book of Abraham in 1842, but the January 1843 edition of the Times and Seasons reported that Joseph Smith intended to quote further extracts from the Book of Abraham, end of quote. And those further extracts never surfaced. We don't know if he translated them or if the other pressing demands of him being the prophet at the time took away his demands. Needless to say, they were published. What he did translate was published in the church's newspapers. Those were later excerpted into a tiny little booklet by Franklin D. Richards when he was the mission president over in England, that he put together in a booklet called The Pearl of Great Price, that was then brought over and used here in the early Utah period and later adopted at the end of the 1800s as a standard book of scripture for us. That's how the Book of Abraham gets into our scriptures. So let's talk about what's in there. I think I do have a clue, at least an indication, as to what the further chapters in the Book of Abraham would have been. Now, you want to know what they are? Well, hang on, and I'll show you where I'm getting that from, that deduction that I've come to. And then in Abraham 5, we then get Adam and Eve coming to the earth, and God creates humanity and places them in the garden, and then it ends. The narrative's over. So that's really interesting. What do you think would have come next had Joseph, as he said, there were further extracts from the Book of Abraham to be given? Let's see. Let me teach Abraham. Let's write about the premortal life. Let's write about the creation. Let's put Adam and Eve in the garden. What do you think would have come next? Well, I don't think it's too far of a stretch to say what would have come next was likely the fall of Adam and Eve. And therefore, then what comes after creation and fall? We would have got probably something about redemption through the atonement of Jesus Christ. Now, admittedly, that's conjecture, and that's just my opinion. That's no official teaching. But I do think it follows a logic that had we gotten more of Abraham, that's what would have come. So process this. Abraham's made a priest. He makes covenants. He's taught and instructed. He learns about the creation, the fall, the atonement. He's brought into the presence of God. He gains eternal knowledge, symbolizes exaltation. Where are you and I made a priest or to become high priests and priestesses? Where are we taught and instructed and make covenants? Where do we pass symbolically into the presence of God and receive a promise that we can also have eternal family and posterity and priesthood power and all the blessings of exaltation? Abraham, what I hope you're seeing, is fundamentally a temple text. It's fundamentally a doctrinal text to teach us major temple themes. And it's not coincidental that just after Joseph publishes in 1842 the extracts that he did from the Book of Abraham, on May 4th of 1842, Joseph Smith will administer the first temple endowment rituals and ceremony on the second floor of the red brick store in Nauvoo. Fascinating stuff as we're seeing the restoration unfold through Joseph Smith, line upon line, through the Book of Abraham that leads us right to the Holy Temple today. God bless you and God bless me as we are faithful to the unfolding restoration, understand these great truths, and try to live them in our life. Thanks so much.